ready to go with street gas. Bob Markey, you will be our test puller. Hey, wave your hand for me. How many of you have never been to a truck pull before? Anybody? Don't be bashful. I got a couple. All right. So we'll try and keep you up to speed what's going on and what we're doing. Everybody pretty much knows the name of the game is to pull the sled the furthest distance. Our first puller in the class has the option to accept or reject his pull. That's only the first puller. So I think I just heard Bob fire up. As we go through here, Russ Wolf up top there, he'll be giving us our distances as we go through this evening and keeping us up to date on who's leading the class and all that kind of stuff, and I'll try and keep you up to speed. Now, what makes a street gas? You're going to come out. This first one's a good one, and you're going to say, well, that doesn't look very street to me. Well, the motor kind of is what it is. The street part of this is the fact that there's no weights hanging in front of that front bumper. So that's a big advantage. You're going to see that in our next class. The Pro Stock trucks, a little bit different suspension setup. These trucks have to have what we call loose rear suspension. They can be locked, but it can't be all folded up solid and rigid. They got to have about 2 inches of travel, so things can move around a little bit in there. But other than that, these motors may not be a whole lot different than the ones in the next class. In some cases they are, in some cases they aren't. Our first one is Bob Markey from Stroudsburg, 1975 Chevrolet 2500. The Markey pulling team is here with a couple trucks tonight.
Unofficially, that pull was 260.16 feet, 60.16.
So with every class, we got to get the sled set right, and sometimes that takes a vehicle or two to make that happen. Sometimes, yeah, both are real good. All right, yep. So we're going to lighten that sled up. So we'll watch what they do down there. The sled operator is going to get out of the cab, and he's going to make an adjustment to the sled. We'll see what he does. Bob can either come right back, he's probably... Russ, who's up next?
We got a first ever Zimmerman out of
Okay, so throughout the night, we'll make adjustments to the sled for the different classes. The sled operator is crawling under his cab. That means he's changing the gear, so he has 4 gears that make the sled come, that make the box come front faster or slower. They put weights in and out of the box. The weights are about 2,000 pounds each, and that is typically about 20 feet. So if they pull a weight, that'll let it out 20 feet. If they put a weight in, that'll shorten it 20 feet. Changing the gear, making the box come front slower. The back wheels of the sled drive the box front. So if the box is in a higher gear, those rear wheels turn harder. So not only is the weight coming front faster, but the sled pulls harder as well. So it looks like we've changed the gear. There's a couple other adjustments that he can make. We'll cover that later on. We are ready for Bernal Zimmerman. So we go from old school big block Chevrolet horsepower to LS horsepower. I believe this is the truck. This LS has a little bit of a helper on it. Let's see if we hear it. Bernal Zimmerman from Fleetwood. There you hear the ball. All right, now he was a new test puller, so we got to see what our track officials decide to do. So that's good. Bernal dropped. Okay. So we still don't have an official distance, but we will now. Russ, who's backing into the sled next?
Up next, we got Doug Moyer on 11 with a 2004 F250. We had a distance for Bernal Zimmerman of 288.66 feet. Okay, I was just informed the sled is set, but Bernal is going to drop the hook. So our first official pull is going to be with Doug Moyer.
Again, if you have somebody at home that's watching, Robert Drawbridge on YouTube. Go to YouTube at Robert Drawbridge. The event's being live streamed here tonight, so they can check it out there. A lot of variety in this class. Doug has a V10 in his 2000 F250. Then we get a little more old school Ford. Title sponsor today was the Peach Store, one of the largest Peterbilt dealers in the country. Got a chance to talk to Mike Van Aken from the Hagerstown store today. What a great group of guys. Doug Moyer from Lebanon, Ford V10. Done to set our distance to beat.
All right, we got official distance for Doug Moyer of 266.21 feet, 266.21. That brings us up to Craig Costler out of Stroudsburg with 79 F350.
All right, and this truck is a little more old school horsepower. Craig owned this truck years ago. He sold the truck. And then his daughter wanted to get back into pulling, so they bought it back, sorry. And usually his daughter's doing the driving, but Craig's doing the driving tonight. Good running forward from up there in the northeast corner of the state. 1979, they call it Ready to Rip. A couple other sponsors we had with us all day at the truck show, our VIP sponsors. Hunter Truck, Blackworth Custom Trucks, that's Dallas Good back there around Bethel. They had some beautiful custom trucks here today that they did out in the parking lot. Cleveland Brothers, Caterpillar, DA Grove Construction, Goods Insurance Agency. If you have a trucking company and you need insurance, check out Goods Insurance Agency. Fleet Pride. For all your parts, check out the Fleet Pride site. They have a cross-reference guide right on there. If it's blue or black. If it's blue, it's current. If it's black, it's an old part. And SNK Enterprises, Inc. Greg Kostler from Stroudsburg. Distance to beat is 266.21. What do you think, folks? Do we have any leader? Yeah. I think you're right.
We got a new leader. 300.98. Paul out of Mannheim with another Chevy 2500.
All right, we're back to LS Power. Again, bouncing back and forth here between some of the new stuff and some of the old stuff. Some other sponsors for the truck show today. Morgan's Towing. They sponsored the kids area today. They did a great job with the kids zone, had all kinds of stuff set up for the kids. Special thank you to Morgan Towing for that, and Knowles Towing from Cochran Mill. They brought two of their rotators up here and hung a big flag from them for everybody to drive under. That was pretty cool. We thank Knowles Towing from Cochran Mill for that. Kenworth of PA, B. Kepper Trucking, Blair County Oil, Garmin Transport Team Logistics, Diesel Automotive Services, Earl R. Martin Trucking and Repair, RTD Logistics, Transtech, Western Star Freightliner, and Utility Keystone Trailers. Go with an LS Motor Bruce Bowl from Mannheim, Oak Tree Chevrolet. Well, a round of applause for Bruce. That was a nice run. We'll wait on his distance.
We got a distance for Bruce of 291.65 feet, 291.65. Currently good for second place. That brings up next to be Corey Brown from Schaeferstown, a 1981 Chevy K10.
All right, Corey and Bruce are generally pretty close. So these guys kind of battle it out here. There's a couple of these guys that run all the time. Obviously there's some difference between the trucks. When you're at this level of pulling, that's just kind of the way it is. There's some difference in vehicles, and that's what you're seeing here. But this next one and Bruce should be pretty close together. Should be some pretty good competition between these two. Then we're going to go back to the top of our list and get the two that ran already. Pro Street Gas guys, that means we got two to go after Corey. Richard Gardner, you're the test puller. Brett Shuey, you're on deck. Nate Harding, you're in the hole. Those are your first three for Pro Street Gas. We got 12 of them. Nice class of Pro Street Gas trucks. around. Many of you, since we're in a semi-crowd here, many of you know Corey's dad, Albert, has the V8 Mag 4.1 semi. Called back in black.
We got distance for Corey at 289.14 feet, 289.14. That's currently good for third. Up next, we're going to see Bob Markey back in again from Stroudsburg. He was our first puller before the sled adjustments.
All right, so Corey and Bruce just about 2 feet apart there. Kind of what we expected. Those trucks kind of flip-flop back and forth. Markey pulling team again. Two trucks with us here tonight. And one in this class. I didn't look on the list, Russ. Are they bumping this one up to run again?
Sierra 2500.
This is the last one in this class. We'll be on to the next class then. As you watch, you got a chance to watch the sled work a little bit more there, folks. You saw at the end of the track that the back wheels of the sled were off the ground. So the other thing that the sled operator can adjust is when the back of the pan, if you look down there now, and when he leaves the line, the back of the pan is not on the ground. It's held up by the sled. There's a trip on the box coming front, and when the box hits that trip, and that trip the sled operator can adjust, that'll let the back of the pan down. At that point, the pan is floating. The second switch will activate the jack that's on the back of the pan, and that will lift the back of the sled almost off the ground, as you saw there, or will lift it off the ground, put all the weight on the sled on the back of the pan. There are browsers under the pan. You can see it in the dirt here when the sled operator lifts it up. But those browsers may not be in front of the fifth wheel. So the fifth wheel that puts that pan onto the sled, the browsers must be behind the fifth wheel. They changed that with the increase in speed. They changed that 6 or 8 years ago on the sleds. They used to be all the way front. There we go for now. How about a round of applause for Burnell? I believe that's good enough for about second place.
You're absolutely right there, Darren. The distance for Burnell, 304.91 feet, 304.91. That would be good for second. Looks like first place is going to go to Bob Markey at 330.99. As soon as we have the printout here, I'll give the official results for the placings.
Hey, mechanical semi-class. The first three, if you need hitches, get up there so they can get them on. Ben Maurer, Nathan Wilbur, Robert Sims. You are the first three in the mechanical class. Please report to, I believe I put the hitches on at the scale pad. Yep, out back to the scale pad. Ben Maurer, Nathan Willard, Robert Sims. I know Ben doesn't have a hitch. He needs one. Not sure about Nate or Rob. Brian Eschweiler, you're fourth. He has a hitch. And most of the rest of them might need hitches.
Well, we got the results of the street gas class. First place goes to Bob Markey, second place to Burnell Zimmerman, third to Craig Kostler, and fourth to Bruce Paul. Congratulations. So we'll now be moving into the Pro Street gas class. First up is going to be Richard Gardner out of Bethlehem with a 94 Ford.
Okay, the Gardner pulling team, they just bought this truck this year. They've been working on it. It has been the Thunderstruck truck for a lot of years. What this class is, folks, they call this Pro Street gas. It's pretty much all over the nation. We pretty much run it the same way. There's no suspension in the back of most of these trucks. They're trussed in solid. There's suspension in the front. Weight boxes hanging off the front. The driveline must have been available. The case itself must have been available in a 1-ton or less pickup truck. So the rears, they don't have to be a Ford rear. You can put an AAM rear in this Ford if you want to. You can put an AAD in a Chevy if you want to. But it had to have been available in a 1-ton or less. Sorry about that, 1-ton or less truck. So we're running, there's two classes, there's big block and small block. We got a couple small blocks here mixed in. We're just running big block tonight. I'll let you know there's 3 small blocks here. I'll let you know who they are. We'll create kind of a mini class for them within our big class of big blocks. So we often run the small blocks with the big blocks. Here we go with our test puller. Richard Gardner. When you run big block, that's up to you. You can run as many cubic inches as you want to run in this big block class. Horsepower is generally not the limiting factor for the bigger trucks. There's at least 2 or 3 here tonight. That horsepower is not the limiting factor. The game is to get the horsepower to the ground, as it is in all pulling classes. But some of them just have so much horsepower that you'll see who they are when they come out. It's hard to get it to the track, so that's their game. Green flag, Brent Shoemake from Lebanon. saw there, with the steering that Brent has in there, that truck was pulling it from side to side going down the track. When you see that, that is not their desire. They are not doing that on purpose. When we teach guys to drive these trucks, we tell them, do not put your thumbs in the steering wheel unless you don't like your thumb in its normal position. Because the truck is doing that all on its own. As the front end is grabbing hold of the track, it's yanking that front end all around. They're not trying to do that to gain traction. We want to go straight and smooth. A to B, that's our goal. No bounce, just straight and smooth. Russ, what was his distance?
We got a distance for Brent Shute at 315.62 feet, 315.62. Up next, we're going to see Nathan Harding from Lebanon with a 1980 Chevy K30.
All right, so this is Nate's first year with this truck. This truck actually, his dad and another one of our tech officials here for the tractors, Dale Weaver, they pulled this truck back in the 80s and 90s. And it kind of sat there at Nate's dad's place for a lot of years, and now they put it back on the track. They got a motor for it, and they've been working some gremlins out of their driveline. I don't believe they had any motor trouble, but they've certainly been working their tail off to get the truck to stay on the track. Oh my, how about a round of applause for Nate?
Got a distance for Nathan of 291.16 feet, 291.16. I'm sorry, 292.16. That's currently good for third place. Up next, we're going to see Lucas House from Irontown, 74.
Okay, and another second generation puller here. His dad pulled, I think, 30 years, we said, right? Where's his mom? Just like 30 years, 32 years for Billy. A lot. Okay, so this is the second generation. Billy turned the driving duties over to Lucas and Ben, the boys. Ben is at Penn State. He just checked into Penn State today, so he's up at Penn State to be an ag educator. Lucas is currently enrolled in LBC. Or I don't know what. Did Lucas decide yet? Business management, okay. The family has Woodland Contracting. If you enjoy the new bleachers, and Russ and Jenny enjoy the new announcer stand up there, the air conditioning, our whole new facility here, largely built by Woodland Contractors. So that's who we're talking about here. Great pulling family. Again, over 30 years experience, now passing it on to the kids. Boys do a great job with the truck.
Chevy C10.
And this is our first small block, folks. So this is, I can tell you for a fact, this is a 408. In a 440 class, it usually does pretty well, but if you consider horsepower per cubic inch versus some of the motors that ran in here already are up close to that 600 cubic inch mark. So we're giving up roughly 200 cubic inches. And if you thought, well, how many horsepower per cubic inch do you get? Well, on the low side, these motors are probably around 1.5. As you go over 1.5, the horsepower, or the dollars per horsepower really go up. But some of these motors are up there close to 2 horsepower per cubic inch. So easy math, if you're down 200 cubic inches and the other guy's making 2 horsepower per cubic inch, you're probably down a lot of horsepower. But this is a pretty decent running small block. It's the first one of 3, I believe, that we have here. So we'll see how Dalton does. Dalton's a 3rd generation puller. Right here and left. Hey, how about a round of applause? That was pretty good. You saw a different driving style. If you're paying attention, that is not a big block. That's a small block. They're going to drive it differently. Like if you go to that truck, you don't start letting the clutch out until about 65 or 6,800 RPMs down there on the line. Otherwise, it just doesn't like it. That's how you drive a small block. The big block guys, they can ease them out of the hole and drive them down here. You saw Lucas Smeltzer did an awesome job. Just drove that truck down at about 175, 200 feet. He really got on the throttle then. I don't want to upset the truck. Get on the throttle too quick, and it really starts bouncing and carrying on. Russ, you got a distance for us?
Yes, for our first small block, not bad for Dalton at 318.96 feet, 318.96. That's currently good for 3rd place. That brings us to Steve Zeckman out of Jonestown at 87.4 F350.
Okay, so Steve's been working on this one for a couple years. Steve and the whole Zeckman family have a ton of pulling experience. They have a machine shop. Steve drives a truck. He has a tri-axle dump truck. But they had back there, they have a machine shop. They did a lot of pulling over the years. This was a new adventure for them with this motor, kind of a whole new level. They've been working on it all year long, finding the weak link. First of all, getting the chassis to settle down and hook to the track so Steve could actually drive it a little bit. And then they got that figured out and then broke the front end and then broke the rear end. So hopefully we get a nice smooth run out of Steve here and he gets all the way down the track. Steve Zeckman from Jonestown, 87.
We got this is for Steve at 320.06, 320.06, puts him in 3rd place. Up next to be Jeremiah Fake from Myerstown with 69 Chevy K20.
Good running Chevy. This one's going to be up there in the top couple any night. So a little bit more about these trucks. Most of them, there's one here tonight running an automatic. I'll let you know when they come up. Everybody else, to my knowledge, is all running a standard transmission. So the clutch, you say, what are they doing with their clutch? How can they do that? So these are multi-disc clutches, usually at least 2, some have 3 and some have more, but 2 disc, and they're not normal fiberless discs, they're centered iron discs. With all ran with the small block there, I guarantee it's put clutch yet at 100 foot. He was still slipping that clutch. Sometimes we're out beyond 100 foot with that truck, still slipping the clutch. Those centered iron clutches are made to do that. That's a pulling truck. It is not a slipper clutch. There are a couple trucks here tonight that have slipper clutches, kind of centrifugal style clutches in them. These clutches in most of these trucks are not slipper clutches. They're still pedal clutches. We drive them with the pedal. They just have
That's going to put him in first place, followed in second by Richard Gardner at 348.06. Up next, we're going to see Chris Boyer out of Myerstown with a 79 Chevy called Waldeck Warrior.
Yeah, so this truck took about a 16-year break. And Chris campaigned this truck with us in the 90s and the very early 2000s. And the truck was recently sold to Daryl Hackman. Daryl drove it here. If you were here for a fair pull, Daryl drove it. Daryl's been driving it some. Chris is driving it tonight. This is another one of our small blocks in the class. So yeah, we'll keep a mini class of small blocks here rather than our big blocks. So moving back from the clutch, some of them have hydraulic aftermarket fluid, hydraulic slave, some run a factory hydraulic slave. It's difficult to run just a manual clutch. With all the twisting and everything that goes on, it's really hard to drive them without a hydraulic clutch. You can do it, but it's difficult. Behind that, the clutch, obviously a steel flywheel, and then behind the clutch, flywheel and the clutch, and then into the transmission. Most guys running an SM465, a 4-speed transmission. Some of them have just 1 pulling gear, and some have 3 pulling gears. Again, the only thing that has to be factory is the case. So most of them, the tops are off, they're all dumped out, it's all aftermarket stuff in there. They'll run a second, they have 2 gears, they have second and third. But most of them have either a Keck or a Profab kit in that transmission. It gives them 3 pulling gears, and each one of those gears is 5% apart. So they can make minor adjustments there.
We got a distance for Chris Boyer at 280.51 feet, 280.51. That brings up next to be Ben McElroy from Lebanon with an 85 Chevy K20.
Okay, and this is our other small block. So where do we get to? Transmission. So transmission, then if you want to go up or down, you just change the headset. Once you do that once, you're pretty much done. Just change the headset. Final gear ratio. Multiply all your reductions together on these small block trucks, is probably in the 26 to 28 range, versus the big block trucks, which are down around 20 in the upper 20s, or that maybe down into the teens for their final gear ratio. Behind that, SM465, most guys running an NP205 transfer case. If you have a Ford with a divorce transfer case, you probably threw that in the trash. And you got yourself an NP205, and you take that apart, and you dump everything in the scrap metal, and you put yourself a kit in there that's just 3 shafts and a couple gears. It doesn't shift anymore, but it doesn't break either. Couple new drive shafts, big U joints. How about a round of applause for Ben? That was our last small block in the class. Ben did a good job. Ben and his wife Mackenzie have to use another round of applause for business. So if you have a bunch of semi-tires, Ben and Mackenzie showed up at one place on Thursday to the Gold 53-footer. It was time to empty the mark. So they took them all. Look them up if you need to get rid of a whole bunch of semi-tires. They'll come to your place and pick them up. Ben also has a service truck and wrenches on pretty much anything, a lot of industrial equipment.
We got this is for Ben McElroy of 299.02 feet, 299.02 feet. I'll give you the rundown of the top 5 so far. In first place is going to be Jeremiah Fink at 350.55. Second place is Richard Gardner so far. Third is Lucas Smeltzer. Fourth is Steve Zeckman. And fifth, Dalton Grubine. The distance to beat is 350.55. To get into the top 5, you need to beat 318.96. So up next, we're going to see Donald Eshelman from Peckway with a 74 Ford F350.
Donald and his son Brian pull with us in different classes and a couple different pulling trucks. Great group of guys down there around Delta. Something wrong. So what could be wrong? Obviously it wasn't in four-wheel drive. Well, that could be because something was broke. Possibly it jumped out of gear. Some of them do that. Or he could have broke right at the end. The last time he ran the truck, he could have broke right at the end and didn't realize it.
I think he's been in the room with one himself.
Alright, so here we go. This is Robert Markey Jr. from East Stroudsburg. You saw his dad out here with the blue truck in the last class. This is their profile truck. This is a good one. What's the distance to beat, bro? 348.
Distance to beat is 350.55 from Jeremiah Fink. He's currently our leader.
That's in danger, I would say, right now. The Markeys have an excavation business up there. They do paving, have a couple trash trucks. Good group of guys, good family, good Bolton family. Oh, there's 3 generations that drive. Okay, now he stopped, he's motioning back, so I didn't go over that rule in pulling. Down there at the 100-foot line, he let off. If you let off before the 100-foot line, that's why the starting line flagman stands at 100 foot. He doesn't have to stop by 100 foot, that would be a little bit ridiculous. All he has to do is let off. So he let off by 100 foot, he can go right back and get his second attempt. So you have 2 attempts to move your sled. Didn't look quite right to him, didn't feel quite right. So you did the right thing, you let out. And we'll go give it another try. So again, the Markey family, 3 generations. The youngest generation, I don't know, I didn't see them tonight. They might be doing something else. So we have Dad in the seat here, Grandpa in the blue truck, and the kids probably fixed the trucks and put them on the trailer for Dad and Grandpa and then went to do something else. Here we go again, final attempt. Robert Markey Jr., East Stroudsburg. Ford F-250 called Migraine Headache. All right, the May boys bought this truck a couple years ago. I think they switched about everything in it by now, especially the motor. This is our automatic truck, and you saw the difference in driving there with Bob and between the small blocks and the big blocks. And now this one's an automatic. See if you can tell the difference. The name of the game, folks, this is speed sled. Oftentimes, your speed on a 350-foot track like this, your speed at 220 to 250 feet is going to determine the length of your pull at the other end. So the goal is to you want to get a run on the sled, get as much speed as you can, and then carry that momentum out the end. So again, this is our automatic. I believe that leaves us with 1 to go in here. Is that right, Russ?
We actually have 2. I was just informed we're not exhibition pool here again.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah, I knew that
he's going to be driving the Waldeck Warrior, Chris Boyer's machine.
Okay, so we're doing an exhibition hook here for Darryl. We'll do that from time to time. We have time and events like this. Mechanical semi guys, get ready. Mechanical semi guys, get ready. You can go ahead, Russ, and give me a rundown. Or did you do that already?
I did. I'm waiting for the official results. I have it here, I believe, but I just want to make sure I get it from the printout. So it just came out of the printer. Congratulations. First place is going to go to Robert Markey Jr., second place to Jeremiah Fake, third to Richard Gardner, fourth to Lucas Smeltzer, and fifth to Bob Markey. Congratulations. And you can stop by the announcer stand at your convenience to pick up your awards.
Okay, again, mechanical guys, get ready. You are up. This is our last one. Ben Maurer, Nathan Wilbert, Rob Sims, Brian Exweiler. There's your first four. Okay, a round of applause there for Darryl. I believe the only thing they changed there was the driver.
And it made a little bit of a difference there, Aaron. This is the 289.58 feet to 89.58. Christopher Charlie was 280.51, so just a hair over 9 feet difference.
Okay, so now we're on semi-final. How many of you came to see the semis tonight? Yeah, all right. So we split them for you into the mechanical trucks. Got about 10 mechanical trucks, about 8 or so electronic trucks, and 2 open trucks. So somebody said to me earlier, where are the Pro Stock semis tonight? The 4-1 semis have a points hook tonight, or otherwise you know they would be here. So they had a points hook that kept some of them away. So the mechanical and the electronic, we got about 18 or 19 of them total. Split the class for you. This is our street class. A couple of our regulars are also on vacation. Some are out at the big 50 Years of Progress show over in Illinois. sled down there. We have a couple minutes. If Mike Van Aken, if you made it up here tonight, come on over here to the south side, come out and see me. We'll talk to you a little bit. Mike is the sales director there at the Beach Store down in Hagerstown. He's our title sponsor of the whole show here for the last 2 days, the whole Keystone Large Car Nationals.
Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. All semi-truck drivers, please make your way down to the scale area so you are ready for removing and installing the hitches on your truck when you're ready to pull. All semis to the scale area, please.
So if you've never been to a semi-pull, these two semis have a spot, have their own hitches. But there's probably half our class or better that use one of our hitches. Albert Brown, the gentleman that most of you are familiar with, his V8 Mac called Back in Black. These are his hitches, and he kind of totes them around. We call Albert the grandfather of semi-pulling here at the Lebanon track. He kind of brought it to us a long, long time ago, longer than any of us can really remember. And he built the hitches when we did that, and he came to us and said, I want to do this. So we let them do it, and it was instantly a hit. Obviously, by then, they were doing it in other parts of the country. So our test puller is Ben Maurer from Lebanon. A little bit different kind of truck. 1986 Ford C7000. Again, if somebody's at home watching, or is at home and they want to watch, YouTube at Robert Drawbridge. YouTube at Robert Drawbridge will get them to a live stream of tonight's event. The rest of you can go home and check that out for other pulling events and things that Robert videos. Driver Luke Smeltzer. What do you think, Luke? Good run? Good run. Thumbs up? Okay. Anything you would change? Not really. Okay. Man, a few words. All right, now what we're going to have to do here, folks, Ben drew the first number. So the order that we go in is random. He's our test puller. He obviously weighs about half or a third of what most of the other semis weigh. I go out on a limb and say he's a little bit under horsepower too. He's on one axle rather than two. So he's got a lot of disadvantages. So what we're going to have to do here is set the sled. We're going to have to look at a couple trucks. And our finish line flag man came up here, and a lot of times what we do to judge the sled, we look at who's here, and a lot of times we know the trucks. At an event like this, there's quite a few trucks here that we don't know. So we're going to do the best job we can to set the sled on trucks that we don't know. There we go, that's a nice horn. Yeah, give him a round of applause. Give Ben a round of applause. Always comes out here, has a good time.
We got a distance for Ben Marr, unofficially right now at 124.52 feet, 124.52. That's going to bring up next is going to be Nathan Wilbert, all in from Halifax, Upper Dauphin County there, with a 1980 Peterbilt 359.
Okay, so 1980. I don't know, again, I don't know some of these. If this is a cat, this is probably a B series. 3406B, maybe even an A. I don't know that old. model cats. There's at least one C model cat. And they could have all been replaced by now too. We never know what's in them. The ones that I know, and I know for sure, have cats in them. There's a really cool V8 Detroit down there in the show today. Supercharged V8 Detroit with a turbo on top. That was a factory setup that Blackworth did in that Freightliner. Anybody see that today, the Freightliner that Blackworth did? Yeah, a lot of cheering going on. Beautiful truck. They had the hood open on it for a while. Nate Woodward from Halifax. That ain't gonna work, Nate. So again, he has 2 attempts. If you never pulled a sled before, it's a little bit different. When you're pulling a trailer, a good driver kind of puts it into low gear so you don't need much for no throttle. You let the clutch out and then you shift up from there. This is not like that. All right, now we'll see what adjustments Nate made. Could have went down a gear. There's 2 options. He's either go down a gear or he's going to come out harder. There's really only 2 ways to go. You need a whole lot more skinny pedal. Probably more than that. There you go. Okay, have a round of applause for Nate.
All right, we got a distance for Nate. 275.75 feet, 275.75 feet. Up next, we're going to see Rob Sims out of Whiteford, Maryland, with an 88 Peterbilt 379. And I think they're going to look at 1 or 2 more yet before they make their decision on the sled.
Russ, it was 275. 275. All right, they're discussing what they're going to do with the sled.
They're going to lighten it up and take a little bit of weight out again. So we'll see all our other pullers back in again. So Rob Sims, who looks like it's going to be our test puller again.
Okay, so what we tried to do here, folks, he was 275, that's not far enough. So we tried to add about 20 feet to his distance. If he was out there closer to 300, we'd be a whole lot happier. So that's what we're trying to do. Puts on a better show for you, makes the sled a little bit lighter. I didn't see him pull any weight. So that means we did it all with gear. One other sled adjustment that they have, that box can go back. And I think they have 3 different settings. It can be back all the way, block front 1 or block front 2. So you can move the box back a little farther. And that can give the vehicle a little bit more run on the sled. Robert Sims, Whiteford, Maryland. Yeah, how about a round of applause for Robert Sims and our track crew? I think that was a great call.
We got a distance for Rob of 314.55 feet, 314.55 feet. That brings up, that's going to be Brian Etzweiler out of Newmanstown. 1986 Freightliner. The sled is set, I was just told, and Rob is keeping that distance.
Okay, Brian's pulled with us a lot, so this one will be another new test. I think that's a pretty good sled setting. The sled is really just coming on. So it's what we have here tonight, I believe that'll be great. Hey, Dwayne. From what I hear back there, we're going to have a 2-stroke Detroit in the tractor class. Is that right? Everybody that's looking out, thumbs up. Okay, yeah, we got a 2-stroke Detroit. They're trying to check RPMs on it. I don't know if they're doing very good or not. Brian Etzweiler from Newmanstown, 1986 Freightliner. How about a round of applause for Brian? Nice run.
We got a distance and a new leader with Brian Etzweiler at 336.31 feet, 336.31. Up next is Thomas Casey out of Dalmatia with an 88 Kenworth.
So, if you're sitting in the stands, I got a lot of truck people here. If you're sitting in the stands, I don't know why you sit in the stands. They should call them sits, shouldn't they, Russ? Why do you sit in the stands? I don't know either. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway,
you're out here with your trucks.
Yeah, you should be out here with your truck. If you're up there and you're looking and you think you want to do this, we are looking in this region until next year to divide these semis into 3 classes, hopefully. We'll have a street class, a 3-6 class, and then the 4-1, which is the limited pro class. So we are working on this a little bit. This sport has really changed in the last couple of years. We're going to try and keep ahead of it. Last week we talked to quite a few guys from across the country. They gave us some great ideas on how to do it. And I think that'll really help the sport. If you want to get into it, you'll know exactly what turbo you can run or what rules you can build it to. And at least here in the East, you should be good to go. After Thomas goes here, we'll talk a little bit about why did we split the electronics out. So here we go. Thomas Casey from Dalmatia. have to change that, and he knows it.
We got a distance for Thomas of 281.80 feet, 281.80. That's currently good for third place. That brings up next to be Keith Eckert from Lidditz with an 86 International 9300.
Okay, why did we split these mechanical motors out? It's just that the electronic motors, you sit there with a computer, and you can put a whole lot more horsepower to them. To do that to a mechanical motor, you gotta spend a lot of money. So that's kind of why we split them up. Kind of apples to apples, the electronic trucks generally have a good 200 to 300 horsepower on the mechanical trucks. It doesn't have to be that way. It's just to make the mechanical get there, you gotta go pretty far. Further than you want to go for a truck that you want to drive up and down the street every day. So the point of our new set of rules will be to kind of bring it down a little bit in this class. As you can see, we can put on a nice show if they're all about the same. Keith Eckert from Lidditz, 86 International. Good looking old International. How about a round of applause for the Eckert crew here? I believe they're going to be pulling tractors here later on too.
We got a distance for Keith Eckert of 303.46, 303.46. That's currently good for third place. That brings us to Darryl Brubaker from Denver with an 85 Mac NA613.
Okay, this is one of the better running mechanicals. Distance to beat of 336. Probably in jeopardy now. Black cat over Mac. I guess Mike Van Aken left. Darryl Brubaker from Denver, 85 Mac. How about a round of applause for the old Mac? Believe we have a new leader.
We have a new leader at 361.91 feet for Darryl. 361.91. That's 25 feet there. Ahead of the second place with Brian Etzweiler. That's going to bring up Michelle Brookbine from Annville with a 94 Ford LTL 9000.
Hey, where are my lady drivers at? See some hands going up. This is our lady driver here this evening. Michelle does drive on a regular basis. She ran this truck last weekend down in the Buck. Made it to the third round of drag racing. Did a nice job pulling. Was not scheduled to drive the truck tonight, But so many people asked her husband today if Michelle's driving tonight, and he took that as a sign that maybe he should let Michelle drive tonight. So, Michelle is driving tonight. This is a 3406C cat. This truck could have had a C or the first E in it. 1994. Could have been either way. This one has a C. All right, ladies. This could be your only lady driver of the evening, so this is your chance to cheer on. Good to the last drop. How about a round of applause, ladies?
Hey, this is for Michelle, 333.60, 333.60. Currently good for third place. Just right behind second place at 336. So a real good run there for Michelle. Up next going to be Anthony By out of Kirkwood with an 87 Peterbilt 379. Let's give Michelle another big round there, folks. She did a real nice run there.
All right, that brings us to Anthony By from Kirkwood. I've seen Anthony pull many times before, never with this truck. Usually pretty good running mechanical truck. In between classes here, hey, anybody, Mr. Large Car just walked by. They picked the trucks for the t-shirt next year. Anybody interested in knowing who's going to be on the t-shirt for the Keystone truck show next year, the Large Car Nationals here? Anybody? Yeah, one guy. There's one of them. All right. The two. All right. Yeah, you, Robert, the Camry guy. All right.
I don't think it's going to be my pickup truck out back here.
Probably not, Russ. No.
I don't think it's really my van either.
Not your van either, Robert. No. Your Sprinter van. Yeah. Anthony By from Kirkwood. Yeah, how about a round of applause for Anthony? Probably up there about third or so.
You called it. This is a 339.87 feet, 339.87. That's actually good for second place.
Cool. Now we'll go back to our rebos, right, Russ?
Yep. We're back with Ben Marr from Lebanon. And then Nathan Wilbur. So right now the top rundown, top four, we got first place as Darryl Brubaker at 361.91. Second place at 339.87 is Anthony By. Third place, Brian Etzweiler at 336.31. And our lady driver Michelle is in fourth place at 333.6.
Okay, we got Ben Maurer and Nate Wilbur, and then we're on to the electronics. Colton Rohrbach from Albertus, that's a good one, he's first. Dave Wanger from Mifflintown, followed in third, Jonathan Gibbs, Steve Weber, Kelly Eckert, and Clyde Weaver. Those are your electronic trucks. You almost think that's an electric truck. Don't make much noise, don't make much noise. Good job, Ben. Okay, that's it for Ben. Folks, as I see you up and moving around this evening, our track crew appreciates if when you get out of your seat and take your trash with you, then throw it in the trash can at the bottom of the steps, because we got to clean it up after you leave. So we sure do appreciate that. If you would help us out with that, that would be awesome. When you get up, just throw your trash. Got lots of trash cans along the road in front there. Just carry it down with you and throw it away. Then Russ won't be here cleaning up trash all night.
That's right, we want to go home and get the better way tonight. All right, we got, this is for Ben Maurer, 192.20 feet, 192.20 feet. And that'll bring us to our final chord with Nathan Wilbur from Halifax with a 1980 Peterbilt 359.
Nathan. Yeah. All right. We'll get you Russ give you his distance there, and we'll get you the final placings on the mechanical class.
Okay, we had a distance for Nathan of 250.43, 250.43. As soon as we get the printout here, I will give you the official results, but from what I announced earlier, we should be good.
All right, on the show shirt. I know there's only 2 of you that really want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I care. So next year, Keystone Large Car National show shirt, the 2 trucks that are on it. Number 1, Bob Showers Kenworth. Is Bob Showers here? If Bob Showers is here, stand up and yell, you not, or you made the t-shirt for next year. Just so the rest of you know, these trucks were picked by the people that entered a truck today.
I have the official results there, Darren, if you'd like me to announce them before you continue. First place is going to go to Darrell Brubaker. Second place to Anthony By. Third to Brian Etzweiler. And fourth to Michelle Brookvine. Congratulations, and at your convenience, please stop by the announcer's booth to pick up your awards.
All right, and our other truck on the t-shirt for Keystone Large Car Nationals next year, Larry Van Landingham. Yeah, where's Larry? Larry, you want to come down here and tell us about your truck? No, you have no idea. Okay, I can What year? 82 cab over Freightliner. Maybe they'll get Larry to come down here and tell us more about it with a little encouragement. You can even come tell me about it, Larry, and I'll tell the crowd. Here we go, first electronic truck. Hold on, Bob. There's a good one in here. What about Yeah, how about a round of applause? I think they might make it a little heavier, but I don't know how many like that are in here. It might be okay. I don't know. That's the only one that I know.
Well, unofficially right now, this is a 402.16 feet, 402.16. And up next, we're going to see Dave Wenger out of Mifflintown in 07 Kenworth W900.
All right, I'm going to talk to Larry. Tell me about this truck.
My mom was home and like 4 years ago we put it down and needed everything. It's got 350 cat, a 13 and a 370 rear. Pretty much just run local losses on the road.
Where are you from? You're not from Lebanon County, and I don't know you, but I can tell by the way you talk you're not from Lebanon. Very good, very good. Well, welcome to Lebanon. Glad you made it. Your truck made the shirt, so next year you got to come back. Okay, and I got a hitch you can use. You can pull it too, because that red one, that red Ford, that's just an old farm truck too. All right, well, bring that along. How about a round of applause for Larry? Make the t-shirt next year.
All right, we had a distance, official distance, the sled is set, so the official distance is 402.16 for Colton. He is keeping that hook. So we're going to see Dave Wenger here from Mifflintown.
I love it. Good job, Wayne. In bowling, folks, that's what we call letting them run. So that's good. We got 5 more. And then our open semis. So open semi today is anything 3.6 Charger or over. Dave Wenger from Mifflintown, 07 Kenworth W900. How about a round of applause for Dave?
We got a distance for Dave of 348.15 feet, 348.15. Currently good for second. Up next, we're going to see Jonathan Guy out of Hellam with an 01 Kenworth W900.
All right, we'll see. Probably electronic cat out of that vintage. Could be the electronic Detroit. We do a couple, we run electronic Detroits that run with us from time to time here. I don't think any of them are here tonight. Folks, if you have any questions about what you see going on here, come on down and ask. Come on down here, let me know what your question is. If I don't know the answer, I'll either make something up or I'll go find out the answer for you. I'm a school teacher by trade and a farmer, so I can do that. I do that for a living.
We got a distance for Jonathan of 381.06 feet, 381.06 feet. That's currently good for second place. That brings us up next to Steve Weber out of Oxford with an 05 Peterbilt 37.
We'll see what this is for us, but I think you're just missing a number there. 370 something.
Wild Street Diesel, Wild Street Diesel, please make your way to the scale, please. Wild Street Diesel, please start making your way to the scale.
There you go. 379, 05 Peterbilt. 81 March. Now folks, you see, we didn't change the sled. With some pretty good mechanical trucks here, Anthony and the Brubaker, the Caterpillar Mac, pretty good mechanical trucks. You see the difference between the electronic trucks and the mechanical trucks. Again, not that you can't make a mechanical truck do that, you just need more than a computer to do it. Jonathan Guy from Steve Weber from Oxford. How about a round of applause for Steve? Do we have Jonathan's measurement? Didn't show up down here.
Jonathan is 381.06 for second.
Very good.
Steve Weber has a distance of 274.68, 274.68. Up next is going to be Kelly Eckert from Lennox. Look at that there, a brand new 2025 Mack truck.
Oh my.
That's probably not even broken yet.
Well, I guess it's covered under warranty if it's broke. All right, we got two to go in this class, folks. This 25 Mack of Kelly Eckert, and then a 2011 Peterbilt.
Our leader is Colton Rohrbach at 402.16. Second place is Jonathan Guy at 381.06. Third is Dave Wanger at 348.15. And Steve Weber is currently in fourth at 274.68.
Probably that's an automatic or we left the shift there. That is my guess.
That was a very quiet runner there. It didn't blow any black smoke. Is that an electric vehicle?
About as close as we're going to get. I think we're going the other way again now.
The distance for Kelly of 306.61 feet, 306.61. And that will put him in fourth place so far. Up next, our final four will be Clyde Weaver out of Newmanstown with a 2011 Peterbilt.
Not sure what the GPS locator will do in that map the next time it gets around this area.
Joel brought us a present.
The distance to beat is 402.16. If you want to get into the placing, the distance to beat is 306.61. Almost 100 feet difference there.
All right, last electronic street semi, and then we have our open semis. We got 3 of them. Clifford Lick Jr. How many of you know Clifford Lick and his truck from Bergstown? Yeah, good running. That's about a 4-1 limited pro truck. So that would run with the inconvenience and the scrapper and all that. Clyde Weaver from Newmanstown. About a round of applause for Clyde. All right, that'll wrap up that class. Now, there's 4 weights in the box now. Let's see what the sled operator does for this next group of semis.
We had a distance for 336.06 feet, 336.06 for Clyde. As soon as I have the printout here, I'll give you the official results.
So now, we have the potential here to about double the horsepower. So let's see how many of those 2,000-pound blocks they put in this sled. And Russ will be right with us with the rundown.
Open semi-class, please make your way to the starting lineup. Open semi-class, please make your way to the starting lineup immediately. First up is Clifford Jr., followed by Jason Guy, and then Colt Rohrbach. We have the results of the electronic semi-class. Congratulations. First place goes to Colt Rohrbach. Second to Jonathan Guy. Third to Dave Wenger. And fourth to Clyde Weaver. Congratulations. At your convenience, you can stop by the announcer's stand and pick up your awards.
All right, I believe Clifford's headed out here. Must be done putting weight in the sled. Sled operator going to change a gear yet. We will be ready to go with our basically limited pro semis. Hey, and if Heather from ProFab is here, you had something you wanted me to do. I didn't quite understand it. We were in a talk and we never did it. So if Heather from ProFab is here, or Randy, if you know what that was all about, if somebody wants to come over here and fill me in, we can take care of that.
We only got 3 in this open semi-class there, Darren, so all 3 of them are going to place here.
Yep, I do not. This one I know would be pretty much, like I said, a 4-1 limited pro truck. 4.1 inch inducer on the Charger. applause, Clifford Lake Jr. from Birdstown, 1990 Kenworth.
Unofficial distance right now is 401.53 feet, 401.53.
Okay, you're good. Sled's good, truck's good, we're gonna roll. Nice. That'll bring us to Jason Guy from Lancaster, 01 Kenworth W900.
I assume Cliff is keeping that up?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
We only got 2 more to go there, and then we'll hit the Wild Street Diesel. So first 3 on that's going to be Brody Spickler, followed by Jody Bayer, and then Darryl Hope, who's in the first 3 in the Wild Street Diesel. So please make your way to the starting lineup.
Okay. Don't know much about this one. The last one was the winner from the electronic class. So that one we kind of know something about. A lot of the 401 Limited Pro trucks do have C15 cap in them. Electronic motor. Blocks mainly built all across the country. I don't know whether you guys know this or not, but a lot of you know Jerry Martin Repair, Tobacco Shed Motorsports. They built those cap blocks for everybody all across the country. Kind of famous for that. Here we go, Jason Guy from Lancaster, 01 Kenworth. What are we at? 130 feet difference here, Russ?
Just about 106, 295.24 feet, 295.24. And then that brings us to our final puller, as you said, our winner of the last class, Colton Rohrbach from Albertus.
All right, so Wild Street guys, get ready. Looking over the list here, folks, we got a good group of Wild Street diesel pickups. Should be a really good class. There is 18 of them, Russ? Is that right? About 18 of them.
I didn't count, but I'll agree with you about your assessment there. Distance for Colton of 333.60 feet, 333.60. Congratulations, first place going to go to Cliff Lake Jr., second place to Colton Rohrbach, And third to Jason Guy. Congratulations, and convenience, you can stop by the announcer stand and pick up your awards.
All right, well, folks, we have a minute or two here again, and they're going to have to probably take a week or so out of that sled. I want to take this time to once again thank our sponsors for Keystone Large Car Nationals, our title sponsors for the entire day, the Peep Store, one of the largest Peterbilt dealerships in the country. Talk to Mike Van Aken down there in Hagerstown if you're looking for a truck. They have stores all up and down the East Coast. The Peep Store. Our next level of sponsors, the VIP sponsors, Hunter Truck, Blackbird Custom Trucks, Cleveland Brothers Caterpillar, DNA Road Construction, Goods Insurance Agency Inc., Fleet Pride, and SNK Enterprises.
Ben Gelsinger, please make your way to the starting lineup. Ben Gelsinger, please make your way to the starting lineup.
And then around the show field sponsors, Morgan's Towing. And again, thank them for the kids out of Knowles Towing. And again, with special thanks to them for being our flag bearers for the show today. Kenworth of PA, D. Kepler Trucking, Blair County Oil, Garmin Transport and Logistics, Diesel and Automotive Services, Earl R. Martin Repair and Trucking in East Earl, RBT Logistics, and Trans-Tech Western Star and Freightliner, and Utility Keystone Trailer Sales. Thank you all for your support. I didn't hear any numbers, but hopefully we raised a lot of money for the Help to Fight Cancer today. Also, there was some raffles that we did today, and one of them is still here this evening. The Hershey Children's Hospital is selling raffle tickets. Again, Heather or Randy, you're up here. If you have something that we need to do yet, you gotta come on over here and holler at me. Here we go, Brody Stickler of Elizabethtown, 7 Dodge. Good. So we'll go through all the same stuff here. We'll look at a couple and make sure the sled's set. Test puller can accept or reject. Second attempt, Brody Stickler from Elizabethtown. Have a round of applause for Brody.
The distance for Brody is 305.42 feet, 305.42. That'll bring up next to Joey Bear, all the way from Oxford, New Jersey, with an 07 Dodge 2500.
Good. All right, sled's good. He dropped. Okay, he'll be back. Sled's good. Brody will be back. So we are now underway. We don't have an official distance yet. Brody turned down. Russ will tell you what Brody turned down.
305.42. 305.42.
Joey Taylor, Oxford, New Jersey, 07 Dodge.
Our first official distance is 342.64 feet, 342.64 for Joey Bear. Up next going to be Darryl Knoll from Lidditz with an 01 Dodge.
Ben Gelsinger, be ready. Joey Bear, Oxford, no. Darryl Knoll from Lidditz, sorry. Darryl Knoll from Lidditz. Right there for Darryl.
Distance for Darryl, 268.57, 268.57. Currently second place. That brings us to Ben Gelsinger from Holmesport with an 05 GMC 3500. Thank you, folks. Let's give our track crew here a big round of applause for a great job here tonight, keeping things running smoothly here. Let's give them a round of applause and say we appreciate all the good hard work they're doing here tonight.
Ben Gelsinger from Holmesdorf, 05 Chevrolet. I believe he was second or third here in fair. Really good running in fair. How about a round of applause for Ben? Marvin and truck pulling.
We got a new leader with Ben Gelsinger at 360.81 feet, 360.81. That's about 18 feet more than second place with Joey Baker at 342. That brings up Nathan Brook out of Mount Holly Springs with an 04 Dodge 3500.
Nathan Brook, Holly Springs 04 Dodge. Do we have a new leader? Nobody knows? I think we do. Hard to say exactly.
Not quite.
Not quite, okay.
Not quite. 358.83, 358.83, and our leaders are 360.81, so just about 2 feet.
Very good. Well, folks, you wonder how that could be. It looked like he went further than the cone. It's actually total. The sled doesn't stop at exactly the same spot down there every time. So that can shift our finish line here on this end a little bit and make it look a little bit deceiving.
That's going to bring us to Chad Lutz up next from Wolfsdorf. But another 2 Chevy 3500. So right now our top 3, first place is Ben Gelsinger, second so far is Nathan Brook, and followed up at third is Joey Bear.
Here you go, Chevy fans, another LB7. back and go again. All right, second and final attempt here for Chad Lewis. There we go. How about a round of applause for Chad?
A distance of 306.3 feet, 306.30 feet for Chad. That brings us up next to David Hurst out of Myerstown with 05 Dodge 2500. All right, I believe this is the truck I'm thinking of. This is a drag race truck. Is that right, Dwayne? Yes, this truck does a lot of drag racing on asphalt. Distance for David Hurst at 295.75 feet, 295.75. Darren, look who's up next. We got Tom Hassler out of Bethel, an 08 Ford F350.
Very good. Good running Ford here, folks. You don't like this class too much, I would say. First place could be in jeopardy. We'll see. This is a good one. OEF 350. All reliable. Robert, what's the deal with the umbrella? Is there no sun and there's no rain? Okay. You're ready for the bugs. They won't fly under the umbrella. No, all right. Okay. Tommy Hassler from Bethel.
you are absolutely correct that this is a 372.59 feet, 372.59, just about 12 feet over second place with Ben Gelsinger at 360. That's going to bring up Logan Lewis out of Elkton, Maryland with an 04 GMC.
Tommy that just pulled there, he has a super stock diesel pickup truck. And it runs here on the East Coast. Just put that one together this year. Here in the East, we used to only run 3.6 Limited Pro. Starting this year, we went to the super stock diesel pickup. Tough tires, 2 chassis, they don't have to run a factory frame anymore. Lewis, Elkton, Maryland, 04 GMC. All right, have a round of applause for Logan. I believe that's another 770 drag race truck. If you're familiar with drag racing, they run a 770 index class.
Distance for Logan of 326.52 feet, 326.52. I believe that's currently good for 5th place. That's going to bring up next to me Clyde Weaver out of Imagetown in an 017 Ford F-250.
Folks, this is another good running Ford. So, where are you at with Tommy's distance for us?
372.59 is the distance to beat, 372.59.
So remember that, folks, and watch the code. Clyde has a good run. He can be right up there with him. $9,500 turbo tractors. We're about halfway through here. 9,500 turbo tractors. About halfway through. About 8 trucks or so to go here yet.
We got a new leader with Clyde Weaver at 382.35 feet, 382.35 feet. That brings up next to me Mitchell Kowalski out of Millhall with an 06 Dodge Ram 2500.
I don't think they're quite safe yet. There's a couple other ones down the list here that are pretty decent trucks.
Well, it looks like if I calculated correctly here, between 1st and 5th place, it's a 40-foot difference.
Okay, why don't you run that down for us, Russ? We have a minute
Okay, first place is Clyde Weaver at 2.35. Second, Tom Hassler at 3.72. Third is Ben Gelsinger at 3.60. Fourth is Nathan Rook at 3.58. And fifth is Joey Bear at 3.42. I didn't give the decimal points there, but
no, that'll work. All right, Michael Pulaski, Middle Hall, all the way from Middle Hall. That was aggressive. How about a round of applause for Michael Pulaski?
we got a distance for Mitchell of 363.11 feet, 363.11. That's currently good for third place. That brings up next to be Todd Young from Bent with an 08 Ford F-250 called Black Sheep.
Yeah, good run. Another good run in the Ford. Used to be the Dodges in here, Russ. Now the Fords are pretty tough.
There's a couple more Fords in the mix here yet to go. So just to keep track of everything, Joey Bear got knocked out of fifth place. Our fifth place is now Nathan Rook. We have a distance for Todd Young of 373.85 feet, 373.85. That moves him into second place so far. Up next going to be Dalton Evers out of Lock Haven, an 07 Dodge Ram called Cash Out.
We got about 7 to go here, folks. 6 on the first go, and then our tusk puller coming back. You gotta be up here far on the big end if you want to get a paycheck in this class.
We got a distance for Dalton Evers at 362.86. 362.86. That's currently good for 5th place. Up next going to be Lamar Hoover out of Norwood with a 2011 F350. So we had some movement there. I'll give you the rundown so far, the top 5. In first place is Clyde Weaver at 382. Second place, Todd Youngs at 373. Third place, Tom Hasser at 372. Fourth place, Mitchell Pulaski at 363. And fifth place, Dalton Evers at 362. So we're about 20 feet, we narrowed the gap there, we're about 20 feet difference between first and fifth. Distance at 310.49 feet, 310.49 for Lamar. That's going to be Jethro Hoover out of Anaheim with an 03 Chevy. Distance for Jethro of 278.02 feet, 278.02. That brings us to Dylan Rook from Mount Holly Springs with an 08 Ford F350.
All right, a little bit about this Wild Street class that just comes out. We didn't really tell you. What makes it Wild Street? They can pretty much run any turbocharger they want. The limiting factor here is the weight. They can't hang weight out in front. And the tires. So they can't run cut tires. So that's kind of the restrictions. Other than that, that turbo's kind of their business. There for a couple of years we tried to keep the turbo stock, and that became almost impossible to do. So started going up Wild Street and kind of letting the Chargers go, and this is where we ended up. Pretty good class of trucks to watch. Down to our last 4. One other thing we got going on, folks, we have one more event here at this track to round out the 2025 season. We have a demo derby that will be here on October the 11th. There'll be a demo derby here on October the 11th. And that'll be our last track event for the season of 2025. Dylan Rook, Mount Holly Springs, 08 F350. Another Rook truck is F358. The Dodge 358.
We had a distance for Dylan Rook of 355.18 feet, 355.18. Not quite good enough to get it into placing there. Up next, going to see Cody Haig out of Mooresville with an 01 Dodge Ram 2500. Cody Haig from Mooresville, 01 Dodge. All right, I'm going to run the balls there. Cody. Go. And we're going to pull some tractors. Distance for Cody at 275.47 feet, 275.47. That brings us to James and Rohr out of Burnville with a 97 Dodge 3500. Distance to beat is 382.35 feet with Clyde Weaver. And getting to placing, fifth place is Dalton Evers at 362.86 feet. So just about 20 feet difference there between first and fifth.
Jasmine Roar from Burkeville, 97 Dodge. Well, a round of applause for Jasmine. He's dimming the lights over here a little bit. Good run from the Dodge. Got one to go. Back for a test pulling. Brody Spicker down to 305. 9,500 turbo tractors. Get ready to go. Marlon Shirk, your test puller, followed by Ken Hoover.
We have a distance for Jansen Roar of 359.49 feet, 359.49. Just a couple feet short of getting into the placing there.
Doesn't have to ring. Or to be used to.
Last Wild Street Diesel. Brody Spickler from Elizabethtown, 07 Dodge. Let's see if he betters distance. Again, it turned down to 305. Russ?
Not quite as good as the first time. This is a 297.32. 297.32. So we dropped about 8 feet there. So once I have the official printout here, I'll announce the winners. Just in case I made a mistake on my keeping track here.
Okay, I don't know what slight adjustments we got to make. We'll be back with 9,500 turbo. So folks, this will be what we call pace class. This is an 8-mile-an-hour class. Tractors cannot run faster than 8 miles an hour. If they run 8.1, their DQ. Straw bar. You can run a turbo, pretty much anything goes here. You just can't go over 8 miles an hour. You can't go over 3,000 RPMs on the motor. Everybody get their RPMs tapped. Like Marlin will be our test puller.
The results in there.
Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, Wild Street Diesel class, first place goes to Clyde Weaver. Second to Todd Young. Third to Tom Hassler. Fourth place to Mitchell Kowalski. And fifth place to Dalton Evers. Congratulations, and your convenience, please stop by the announcer's booth to pick up your awards.
At least she drove it on the trailer. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could have done that.
Okay, Marlin Shirt, 9,500 mile-an-hour turbo. So there's a speed board down there. If you haven't noticed that all night, there's a speed board down there. Finish line that they're watching. Okay.
All right, we got an unofficial distance right now for Marlin of 249.61 feet, 249.61. We'll have to wait and see what they say about the sled. Up next will be Ken Hoover out of New Holland with a 1975 Ford 9600.
Both are done. Comes back around. You're going to change the sled a little bit. We'll have a new test puller.
All right, so that means Ken Hoover is going to be our next test puller here. After they make some adjustments.
All right, making some sled adjustments, lightening it up a little bit. Maybe taking, obviously it's pretty aggressive. You saw Marlin cruising along there and all of a sudden, whoop, stopped. So we'll see. Ford 9000 series, 414 in them. They can replace them with factory Genesis motors.
Officially right now, the distance was 266.59, 266.59. So far, both test pullers have been under the 8-mile-an-hour speed limit. Okay, we're going to see one more test puller again. They're going to make a slight adjustment, they said, and so we'll have our next puller is going to be Mike Ulrich out of Arizona. It'll be our test puller again for the 1976 International 1066.
For these guys, so we're gonna take a little more out of that pan, make it not quite so aggressive, and then we should be underway with this one. Again, Mike Ulrich from Ramazonia, International 1066. 1066 had a 414 cubic inch motor in it. A lot of these internationals run a 3LM 466 turbocharger, or what they call, some of them call it a hybrid charger, similar to what the 466 cubic inch motor ran. International didn't make that 466 motor till, they didn't put it in a tractor until the 88 series, way later on.
This is for Mike of 362.07 feet, 362.07.
Yeah, I think going too far now.
He said he's going to make another adjustment, so we're going to move on. Next will be Clyde Zimmerman out of Liz with a 1971 John Deere 4320. Was that official, Darren? They're going to make an adjustment again?
I'm pretty sure. From what the way it goes sometimes.
That just gives them a little extra entertainment for tonight.
Yep. Finds everything from Lidditz, John Deere 4320. Factory 404 cubic inch motor with a charger. This was the smallest tractor that John Deere made factory with a charger. To run in this class, the tractor doesn't necessarily have to, doesn't be a tractor that had a charger on it from the factory. You can add it on. But a 4320 did have factory charger. Back in those days, John Deere did not have their 466 motor yet. It was just a 404. From there, it went up to a 531. Later on, then the 40 series, 466s, 619s.
Heard they're going to add some more weight there, Darren, so that makes our next puller going to be our test puller, going to be Keith Eckert out of Lidditz with a 1984 8600. Five's distance there unofficially was 360.97, 360.97. So just about 2 foot difference there, not quite 2 foot between him and Mike. Distance for Keith at 264.16, 264.16.
Looks are good.
You say we're good?
Sled's good, he's keeping it.
He's keeping that distance.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're going to first official pool. Up next will be Jared Hoover on a New Holland with a 1961 Oliver 1950.
This is two-stroke Keystone. Screaming Detroit. There's the unmistakable center. I'm gonna run the closest here.
This is for Jared at 255.91 feet, 255.91, currently second place. Up next we got Rick Leach on 11 with a 1964 International E6.
Okay, so unless Rick hold a turbo on this one, she could have, which would basically make it almost 806, 1206, the same 360 cubic inch motor, one with a charger on the back. Okay, that's it for Rick.
And this is for Rick of 237.42 feet, 237.42. That's currently third place. Up next was Tim Shower got a verdict score of 69.4, 9,000.
tire size certainly isn't helping him. Timmy Showers, 1969, 49,000 for a motor. Timmy's a second generation puller. His dad pulled this tractor along with a White they had. I don't know. White's not here tonight. Oh, might not make it in 9,500.
We do have a new leader at 272.07 feet, 272.07 for Tim Showers. That brings up Rick Bayshore back in again. He brought his other tractor, the 76, to the National 1066.
Yep, so we go from 360 cubic inches to 414 cubic inches with the turbo. International used this motor in 10. And the 14 has split for 14 cubic inch motor. 1466 would have a 436 cubic inch, which is a stroke 414.
A distance of 252.41 for Rick, 252.41. That brings us to Peyton Angle out of Cockerville with an international 1206.
And again, the 1206 is basically an 806 with a turbo.
Here are our top three run so far. First place is Tim Showers. Second place is Keith Eckert. And third place, Garrett Huber.
kind of like a jackrabbit, but it's a track rabbit. It's similar. Same species, yeah. Every show, right about now. What is it? About 9:20 or so?
9:16.
9:16, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Usually about 9:20, he comes out, takes a lap, and then he's done. I think he wants to go to sleep or making too much noise. Pink Dingle from Cockertonville. Carl 1206.
Second place.
Yep, good hook for the young man there.
That'll bring up Brian Zimmerman on the list with 1968 John Deere 4020. So right now in the top three we got 2 Fords and an International. Currently puts him in third place. We got about a 5-foot difference, Darren, between first and third. So a very narrow margin there.
Jacob Rose from Kutztown. We got 4 to go.
You're absolutely right. We got a new leader. Jacob's distance 281.61 feet, 281.61 feet. That's currently good for first. That moves Tim Showers into second, and Peyton Engel into third. Coming up next is going to be Marlon Shirk out of E-Town with a 1964 John Deere 4020. We're back at the top of the list, so this was our first test puller before we made some adjustments.
Similar setup to the last one.
Distance of 255.53 feet, 255.53. I know they made some adjustments to the sled a couple of times there, but his first distance was 249, so we got about 6 feet further. That brings us back to Ken Hoover again from New Holland with a 49600.
gets DQ'd on speed.
Darren, it's a shame he got disqualified because he would have had the first place distance so far, 282.02, 282.02, and as mentioned, 8.4 miles, the speed limit. That brings us back to Mike Ulrich from Rollins with a 1976 International 1066.
Very good. 2 to go. Mike and Clyde, and then we're done for the night.
This is for Mike Ulrich at 275.53 feet, 275.53. That's currently in for second place. And there's Tim Showers, and that drop came in on third. Up next, our final pole will be Clyde Zimmerman from Lidditz with a 1971 John Deere 4320. The distance to beat's 281.61. First place, Jacob Moats. Second place so far is Mike Ulrich at 275.53. And third is Tim Showers at 272.07.
See what happened there, Russ? We're at 8-2 on that one also. Hey folks, thank you all for coming out this evening. We sure do appreciate it. That wraps up the pulling. Russ, we'll get you the final placings here on the final class. Again, one more event here, October the 11th. We have the demo derby, and then we are done for the season. Again, thank you all for coming out to the Keystone show today. If you were here all day, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Pulling trucks with us this evening. Have a safe ride home. We hope to see you again next year.
Okay, 5 was DQ'd for going over speed, but his distance was 265.67. Wasn't quite good enough to place anyway. And first place goes to Jacob Moats. Second place to Mike Ulrich. And third to Tim Showers. Congratulations, and at your convenience, please stop by the announcer stand and pick up your award.